What types of investments should you hold in which types of accounts? I'm going to oversimplify, overgeneralize so that you can make sure you avoid one of the biggest investment mistakes that we see as certified financial planners. I'll share that and help you with it coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. I've done some videos about target date funds, plenty more to do in the future, but sometimes the question is, well, are target date funds good? Are they bad? I don't know. They're a tool, right? They're a tool. And to me, I think for their benefits, one of the disadvantages is, well, that's the easy button. So, I'm funding my Roth IRA, target date fund. Funding my 401k, target date fund. I've got money going into a joint account or a trust account, target date fund, because that mix is all suitable for my investment, my financial plan and my risk tolerance and time horizon, all that sort of stuff. So I've got the right investment mix. Yeah, but within that target date fund, you've got a prefabricated house. You've got a little bit of stock, a little bit of international, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of bonds, all that sort of stuff. And is it appropriate to hold each of those ingredients in each of those different accounts? Said differently, for a 401k, would it be better to hold just one of those ingredients or two? For your Roth IRA, is it better to hold different ingredients? Or should you hold all the ingredients in each of your accounts? Let's oversimplify, okay? And feel free to light me up in the comments or share your perspective as well. But to me, how to take this and apply it to your specific individual custom financial situation, work with your CFP, because there's just lots of dynamics that you need to discuss and evaluate and consider. So that's the overall advice, that I would not tell you that you should take the same investment approach and put it in every single account. I would tell you that's the wrong thing to do, okay? But exactly how to apply it, work with your CFP. So let's oversimplify. The right mix for you should be 70% stock, 30% bonds, okay? Let's just pretend that that's the case, 70-30. And let's pretend you've got a 401k. Let's pretend you've got an IRA. Let's pretend you've got a Roth IRA. And let's pretend you've got a joint account or a trust account, a non-tax sheltered account. So let's get the easy one out of the way, the 30% of your overall portfolio that should be in lower risk or fixed income, okay? So what's the best place for those dollars? 401k and IRA. 401k and IRA. Why? Because those investments, contrary to what you've seen over the past 40 years, where interest rates go down and those investments have some capital gain, that's not how they're supposed to work. And I would assume they're not going to work just like that over the next 40 years. So typically those investments, they pay interest, okay? They pay interest, and that interest is going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates. Well, anything coming out of your 401k, your IRA is going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates. Therefore, it's sheltered. Though as that interest is being paid, it's sheltered within the IRA and 401k. And then when you eventually do draw that money out, it's got the same tax treatment as it otherwise would. Therefore, that 30%, that bond, that low risk exposure, IRA and 401k, that is not the right thing to hold within your Roth IRA and trust account. Why? The Roth IRA, the entire benefit of the Roth is tax-free growth. I just told you, those lower risk, those fixed interest rate investments, they're not poised for great growth. Now, in your situation, you might say, yeah, I don't want to take a lot of growth, though, or I don't want to take a lot of risk. I don't need a lot of growth. Well, then fine. You'll, again, work with this, work with your CFP on this. But in general, if you're supposed to be 70-30, I wouldn't have the 30 in the Roth IRA, because you're kind of cutting off the natural tax advantages that it provides. And then same with the non-IRA, the trust account. Again, the interest in whatever that these bonds kick off, bond funds or whatever, it's going to be paid as ordinary income, okay? And within that trust account, it's not tax sheltered at all, so you want to be careful of that. Now, if you're working with your CFP and you're using municipal bonds or tax-exempt bonds, then absolutely that trust account. Consider that, work with your CFP on it. But by and large, again, I'm oversimplifying here. I can't talk through every possible scenario, but that 30% low risk or fixed income portion, I'd have mostly in 401k and IRA, not in the Roth, not in the trust account. All right, so what about that 70%? And let's just say that 70% is say index funds, or it's not really actively managed, but it's in equities, mutual funds, exchange traded funds. Definitely the Roth IRA, because that's going to give you the most long-term growth potential. And I would say definitely that trust account, because as it grows, if you sell or when you sell, it's going to be taxed at capital gains rates as opposed to ordinary income like it would in the 401k and the IRA. And in those moments where you, in the 1 out of 5 years or 1 out of 4 years where those investments go down, you could sell and capture some tax loss harvesting. So by and large, if it's an index investment approach that you're doing for that 70%, there's not a lot of action, not a lot of trading, not a lot of activity, then I like it in the Roth because of that long-term growth potential, which accentuates the tax benefits the Roth provides. And I like that it would be able to be sold for capital gain at capital gains rates out there in the future in a trust account. So I'm oversimplifying. I told you that up front. Your bond investments, I would, advantage 401k, advantage IRA. Your stock, index type investments, advantage Roth, advantage trust account. If within that 70% stock allocation, you had some that was more aggressive, more active, okay? Our dynamic, our momentum strategy, there's been no momentum in the markets this year. It's been extremely frustrating coming off of, the complete ideal scenario in 2020, but an investment strategy in stocks that's not just buy and hold, that's not just set it and forget it. It's one where you're going to say, yeah, it's going to make some changes. It's going to be a little more active. To me, I love the Roth IRA, okay? Because as it's more active, you're not having to worry about, well, how's this going to impact my taxes? The capital gains, you're not going to have to report those on your tax return every year, and you won't need to worry about whether it's long-term or short-term. So I like I'd like the Roth IRA for more active investment strategies. And then you obviously do need to consider, depending on how active it is, you do need to consider your IRA for the active investment strategy, simply because, again, every time you make an adjustment, you don't want to have to wonder, well, wait a second, how's this going to impact my taxes? I have conviction that I need to make this change, but if I do so, I'm going to have to pay a bunch of tax. Maybe I shouldn't. For an active investment strategy, you don't want to have to worry about that. Within your 401k, you typically can't have active investments. There are limitations on how frequently you can move things around. So that's an oversimplification, okay? But what it points out is the approach of saying, well, it's appropriate for me to be 70-30. Let's be 70-30 Roth, let's be 70-30 in my IRA, let's be 70-30 in my 401k. You're missing out. That's typically not the wise approach for your investments. Your overall portfolio should be 70-30 or whatever it's supposed to be based on your financial plan. And then you want to accentuate the different tax shelters, different accounts that you're using, and holding the right strategies, the right investments in each of those accounts. Work with your CFP on that. We do that with our clients all the time. So your CFP who's doing comprehensive planning and helping you with tax planning should be doing that with you. If you don't have one on your team that's helping with that, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.